Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we are wrestling with what is often the ultimate antagonist in our lives, ourselves.
Right.
We're diving into a really radical framework for understanding and hopefully transforming the painful reality of self-sabotage. And it's all rooted in the work of Brianna Wiest.
It's a subject that, it resonates with pretty much everyone.
It has to.
Because we all face that paradox, you know? We know what we want, we can see the path to get there, and yet we consistently resist taking it.
So why? Why do we work so hard against our own success?
That is the core question.
And the central metaphor here is just so powerful. The idea that the mountain we're trying to climb is often less about a challenge in front of us.
Like a life hardship or something external.
Exactly. It's more of a chronic internal problem. The mountain.
Yeah.
It's you.
Precisely. And the mission then, what we're really talking about is self-mastery. It's about reconciling those two conflicting parts of your mind.
Okay, so what are the two parts?
Well, you have the conscious part. It's fully aware of its goals, its ambitions, its desires. And then you have the unconscious part, which is actively holding you back.
Through all these mechanisms you don't even see happening.
Exactly. They're just running in the background.
So let's define self-sabotage right out of the gate, because I think most people chalk it up to something simple, like a lack of willpower.
Or worse, they think it means they just don't deserve success.
Right.
And that's a really common and very damaging misconception. Self-sabotage is almost never this, deliberate act of self-hatred.
Okay, so what is it then?
It is simply the presence of an unconscious need that's being fulfilled by the behavior.
A need.
Yes. If you're stuck in a habit, no matter how destructive it seems from the outside, your subconscious is finding some kind of relief in it. It's a maladaptive coping mechanism.
So it's designed to keep you safe, not a sign that you're fundamentally broken.
That's a perfect way to put it.
Okay, let's unpack that. Let's drill down into some of the surprising hidden drivers of these behaviors, starting with fear. It seems obvious, but it sounds like it shows up in a really unexpected way.
Fear is massive, but it usually manifests as an irrational or abstract projection.
A projection? What do you mean?
We take a legitimate, a deeply terrifying fear, something really painful like abandonment or powerlessness, and we project it onto a situation that's much less likely to actually happen.
But why do that? Why not just face the real fear?
Because thinking about the true underlying fear is just too painful. It's too close to the bone. So if you can substitute it with something that has a really low probability of happening,
It becomes a safe thing to worry about.
exactly, you're creating this low-stakes worry to avoid the high-stakes truth.
Can you walk us through an example?
Sure. Think about a chronic anxiety over traveling, maybe an intense fear of being a passenger in a car. The anxiety you feel might have, well, nothing to do with cars at all.
So what's it really about?
It could be masking a deeper fear of losing control in your life, or maybe a resistance to moving forward toward an unknown future. By fixating on the car ride, you divert all that emotional energy away from the real issue.
You're just patching the symptom.
Instead of healing the cause, yes.
Wow, that completely reframes anxiety. Okay, moving on. Another really subtle driver the sources point to is outdated inner narratives. These unconscious negative associations we have.
This is absolutely critical for self-mastery. Your self-concept, your view of who you are and what you deserve, it's built from a lifetime of inputs.
Parents, society, experiences.
All of it. And if we're chasing a goal but we have a negative association with the kind of person who achieves that thing, we automatically resist it.
So we're not rejecting the goal itself, but the identity that comes with it.
Precisely. Think about the classic resistance to financial stability. If you grew up hearing that all wealthy people are, greedy or corrupt.
Then your subconscious thinks achieving wealth means becoming a terrible person.
Yes. So you'll subtly sabotage your efforts, maybe through bad planning or overspending, to stay in line with your current self-image, to justify where you are now.
So you have to actually challenge that old belief.
You have to see it was warped to begin with.
This is where it gets really uncomfortable. The resistance to the unknown, even when that unknown is, objectively good for us. Let's talk about the upper limit.
This is Gay Hendricks' concept. He defined it as our individual tolerance or threshold for sustained happiness.
We have a ceiling for how good we let ourselves feel.
We all do. And if things get too good, we panic.
So what happens?
Well, when your circumstances go beyond that accustomed baseline, you get the promotion, you find a great relationship, the system freaks out. We unconsciously engineer problems,
Like picking a fight or creating drama at work.
or even getting sick.
Huh.
We do it to bring ourselves back down to what's comfortable and familiar. It shows a fundamental truth. We are programmed to seek what we've known, not necessarily what makes us happy.
That puts so much internal drama into a new light. Okay, so once we see these drivers, how do they actually show up? What are the symptoms?
Right. If a problem is circumstantial, you face reality. If it's chronic, you're facing yourself.
So what does this internal conflict look like in our daily lives?
We see a few classic symptoms, and they often pretend to be virtues. Take perfectionism.
Oh, I think we're all guilty of holding that up as a badge of honor.
And that's the trick. It's rarely about wanting everything to be perfect. It's more often a strategic way to just delay or avoid showing up at all.
Out of a fear of failure or vulnerability.
Exactly. If you never submit the project, it can't be rejected. The fix here is to shift your entire focus to progress. You have to learn to show up imperfectly and just keep going.
Okay, what about disorganization? That messy desk, the chaotic home, it just seems like laziness.
But it serves a deeper purpose. Creating external chaos is a barrier. The unconscious knows that if everything is disorganized, we can avoid that feeling of, okay, everything's ready, time to get to work. Yes. The disorganization becomes a built-in excuse to put off the real pressure of performing.
And another insidious one is justification. Treating our excuses like they're actual outcomes.
This is a huge trap. You have to understand that your life is measured by outcomes, not intentions. If you constantly say you couldn't do something because you were too busy or too tired,
You're prioritizing the excuse over the ambition.
you are. The resolution is just radical honesty. Stop accepting your own justification. Start measuring your days by what you actually accomplished.
And finally, there's resistance. That awful tension that shows up just when things are going right.
A great new project, a healthy relationship.
And suddenly you feel like running away.
That tension is your internal system just slowing you down. It's checking, is this safe? Can I get attached to this? And pushing through with brute force just makes it worse.
So what do?
You step back, get clear on what you want and why, identify the limiting belief that's surfacing, and then only step back in when you feel genuinely inspired, when the wanting outweighs the fear.
That wanting is the engine of change.
It is.
So after we recognize all these symptoms, we realize the transformation ahead is, well, it's monumental. What's the first and hardest barrier to even starting that work?
Denial. Without a doubt. We have to stop rationalizing unhappiness.
If you're constantly stressed or frustrated, something is wrong.
Fundamentally wrong. And you are accepting it. The greatest act of self-love is taking full accountability and deciding you will no longer accept a life you're unhappy with. You have to move out of denial.
And when you commit to that, the cost is high. The sources have that chilling line. Your new life is going to cost you your old one.
That phrase really gets to the heart of it. The cost isn't just time or money. It's shedding your comfort zone, detaching from old relationships that anchor you to your past.
And letting go of the need to be liked.
Exactly. Holding on to that old life, to the identity that got you this far, becomes the final, most subtle act of self-sabotage.
A key part of this seems to be understanding our core commitments versus our core needs.
It's fundamental. Our subconscious commitments, our automatic behaviors, are often just cover-ups for deeper, unmet core needs. For example, if your commitment is to obsessive control,
Micromanaging everything.
that is likely a cover for a core need of trust and safety.
So if I can fulfill the need for trust, the need to control dissolves.
It does. If you do the internal work to feel safe and supported, the compulsion to control every little thing disappears. The symptom is gone because the core need has been met.
Can you give another example?
Sure. A commitment to constantly pleasing others is usually a cover for a core need for unconditional acceptance.
So if you learn to accept yourself,
You no longer need that external validation, and the people-pleasing just evaporates.
this journey also means using our triggers and negative emotions as guides, which sounds really hard. Aren't we supposed to suppress them?
That's the old way of thinking. Negative emotions carry necessary intelligence. We just need better emotional processing skills.
What does that involve?
It's a three-step process. First, get clarity on why you're upset. Second, validate your feelings. Let yourself actually feel them. And third, determine the course correction.
Okay, let's use anger as an example. So many people see anger as just destructive.
But anger is one of the most transformative emotions we have. It's an influx of mobilizing energy meant to show you your boundaries.
It's a signal.
A signal that something is wrong and action is required to defend your space or your values. It's meant to push us to change what needs changing.
Okay, so the final hurdle here is action. We know what to do, we have the clarity, but we still say, I just don't feel like it.
And this is maybe the most important realization for self-mastery. You must disconnect action from feeling.
Disconnect them entirely.
Fundamentally, our feelings are wired for comfort. They register what is familiar as safe. So any major change, even a positive one, will initially feel unsafe.
My system sees positive change as a threat.
Precisely. You're held back not because you're incapable, but because you don't feel like making uncomfortable changes. You have to learn to take action before you feel like it.
Guiding your life with logic and principles, not just emotions.
That is the path forward.
That brings us to mental strength. We often wait for that huge breakthrough moment, but the real work, it seems, happens through microshifts.
Breakthroughs are rarely random. They're just tipping points that happen after long, consistent periods of, well, often mundane work.
So it's about consistency over intensity.
Absolutely. Microshifts are the key. We're talking tiny, incremental changes. Going to bed 10 minutes earlier, reading one paragraph of a hard book. Doing these things over and over results in permanent changes to your baseline.
We also need to talk about how our thinking causes anxiety. The sources discuss something called logical lapses, which kind of turns the idea overthinking on its head.
That's right. Anxious people are often underthinkers, not overthinkers.
How so?
A logical lapse happens because they jump straight to the worst-case scenario, the climax, but they never complete the reasoning process to the conclusion. They stop at the point of fear.
So they think, I'm going to fail the presentation and just stop there.
And they never think through how they would respond, cope, or move on if the worst actually happened.
So the solution is to force yourself to visualize surviving it.
Yes. If you can fully visualize the outcome, even a bad one, and see that you're resilient enough to survive it, the fear loses its paralyzing power. It's about completing the thought.
And then there's the problem of psychic thinking.
This is a huge cognitive distortion. It's when you assume your intense feelings are guaranteed predictions of the future.
Or that you know what other people are thinking about you.
Right. It detaches us from reality and just breeds constant anxiety.
So how do we tell the difference between a true gut instinct and this fear-driven psychic thinking?
True instinct is quiet. It's subtle, and it operates in the present moment. It tells you what's true right now. Fear, on the other hand, is loud, it's panicked, and it's always projecting into a future that hasn't happened.
So if we're feeling lost and inspiration is fleeting, what do we rely on?
Principles. You need principles.
Yeah.
They are fundamental truths of cause and effect that work regardless of how you feel on a Tuesday morning.
Inspiration is an emotion, but principles are like laws of physics.
Exactly. The principle of saving consistently matters way more than the inspiration you get from hearing about a lottery win.
It's the difference between trying a fad diet and just adhering to the principle of a consistent caloric deficit.
That's it. When you adhere to timeless principles, you shift your focus from short-term emotional survival to long-term thriving. That's the architecture of self-mastery.
This entire deep dive is just such a powerful roadmap. The journey from self-sabotage to self-mastery is really one of continuous self-reinvention.
It is.
It requires shedding that old self, the person who got us this far but is now holding us back, to make way for the future self who's equipped for the life we actually want.
And it's so important to remember the core message. You are not here to live up to some abstract idea of perfection. Imperfection is the engine of growth.
Without the breaks and the faults, nothing could grow.
Nothing could become. Healing is just the process of becoming more resilient, stronger, and more empowered right where you were once broken.
If you can commit each day to doing the work of being fully human, to feeling every emotion, even when you were terrified, you can transcend that mountain inside you in a way that is truly beautiful. So if you can apply logic and principles, even when your feelings scream otherwise, what is the single biggest habit that you could change starting tonight that would cost you your current comfort but unlock your future potential? That's a question worth diving into.